We're in the middle of fall season and it's getting really cold. So that means that we're gonna have to be closing up our garden beds and preparing them for the winter time. So in this video, I'm gonna show you guys two different ways of closing up your garden beds. One of them is through a purchase, but the other one is free 99, and you guys know how much I love free. Let's go. What's going on, my plant peoples? I am the ADHD gardener, where I use gardening, houseplants, and humor as a form of mental health therapy. And I'm cold. I'm a tropical gal. I like my heat, and I really do not mess with the cold. But we have to be out here, and that brings me to leaves. As you see, there is a bunch of leaves on here, but I'm gonna talk about the leaves later on in the video. But for now, we need to cover up our garden beds. Now you may be asking yourself, Jack, why in the world would I have to cover my garden beds before wintertime? Why would I need to? It's just dirt. It can just stay there. Okay, the first reason why you would even want to consider covering your garden beds for the wintertime is because the winters are harsh on your soil. Not only are you worrying about freezing temperatures, harsh weather, snow, a lot of the whatever elements that happens out in the wintertime is not really good for the microbes that are living in the soil. I'm learning about soil, and one of the things that we really do not want to do is leave it exposed to the wintertime outside. Another reason why you would want to cover your soil is because you want to give your soil a chance to rest. There's a reason why us humans need to rest too. We need to recharge our batteries. We need to get ourselves going. We need to kind of build up our strength all over again for the next time that we're starting to move around or, do something. That's the same thing that we're going to do for our soil. We want it to rest. We want it to relax. We want it to actually have time to build up more microbes, more nutrients throughout the entire wintertime. So when we are ready to plant in the springtime, it's ready to rock and roll. And that's what we want. And we want that good soil because that's how we're gonna grow our veggies. Great, Jack, you gave me a good argument for covering your soil throughout the wintertime. Now what? What are my options? I'm gonna show you two different options. One of them involves, having to purchase something, and the other one is free 99. And y'all know how much I love free. Welcome to cover cropping. That's something that I'm experimenting with this year. I have dabbled in it a little bit last year, but I really wanted to concentrate on this year. This is what we call a cover crop. Now there's a few reasons as to why you would even want to consider using a cover crop for your garden beds before wintertime. Cover crops are a great way to kind of protect your soil from the harsh weather, using some kind of organic matter already just like this, covering up the soil. Cover crops do great for covering the soil throughout the harsh winter time. It provides exactly what you think, cover from the harsh elements throughout the winter time. Not only are we going to be adding some more biomass into the soil, but we're also going to be adding more organic matter. It's like a 2-for-1, you know what I'm saying? We're going to be covering the crops, protecting it from the harsh weather. It's like a win-win situation. We're also going to be reducing the compaction of the soil because of those roots that are inside of the ground. Being that those roots are in the ground, they're going to kind of keep those aeration channels alive, which means that the soil cannot be compacted because they got roots in there. Even though after those roots die off, they're still going to promote a lot of more aeration, and there's going to be a lot more nutrients inside of it. So I guess it's still a win-win situation. And one of the bonuses about using cover crops is that you actually can introduce more nutrients into the soil. For example, if you're going to be growing something like legumes as a cover crop, right? That's going to be great because you're going to be introducing nitrogen into the soil. Basically, you're adding more nutrients, again, into the soil in a form of a plant, which is awesome. Now that you figured out that you want to actually start using a cover crop, maybe you want to be thinking about what kind of cover crop you're going to be using, because you do have a few options. You can add rye, buckwheat, I believe some crimson clover, or any other. I think clovers really do pretty good. You can even do legumes. There's a lot of options when it comes to adding cover crops. Now what you see here, I actually bought on Amazon. I'm gonna drop a link down below so you can go check that out. But this one was a variety. This is a mixture. And I believe actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that I learned also, this was really cool, that there's such thing as like a tilling radish. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? You can even grow radish and leave it in there because you're adding more nutrients to the soil? Psh, mind blown. Isn't that great information? Now your options for cover crops are pretty darn good. I mean, you can have a wide variety of what you can use as a cover crop, but you can also do like a mixed variety bag. And that's what I did over here. It has a little bit of variety of everything. Of course, you can just leave it here until it all dies up for the wintertime. But again, remember, once it dies off, you're still exposing your soil to the harsh winter elements. So that means we're gonna actually, well, at least for me, I'm gonna be covering this on top. Now, of course, this cover crops get more in depth about what you can do with it. Chop and drop is one of them, which is basically just kind of like chopping it all down or maybe like running it over with a lawnmower. You can also just leave it as is and then just cover it further with some other maybe mulch or something like that, or maybe just use a regular tarp. And I'm gonna be using a tarp just to cover right over it. This dog is not supposed to be on my cover crops at all. But he's the least of my problems. At least he doesn't eat the cover crops. You know who does eat my cover crops? My chickens. Now remember in the beginning of the video when I was saying when it comes to closing down the garden beds, you're gonna have two options, one pay for, one not pay for? Well, this is the option that you're gonna have to pay for because obviously you have to buy the seeds for all the cover crops. Now let's talk about the free 99 one because, you know how much I love free. Let's just be real right now, okay? Not everyone is made out of money and not everyone can afford all the great materials and the great things that you would use for your garden. So we're gonna be gardening on a budget, okay? Maybe I should just change my channel to gardening on a budget. Leaves are free and it will not cost you anything aside from maybe something to hold the leaves in so you can bring it back to your place. That's really it. Yes, you can find them in the city. Yes, you can find it even in the hood. You just gotta find a tree that's gonna be dropping them leaves. It's fall time. All trees are gonna drop their leaves. Even in the city, you can find a tree and grab them leaves. It really is possible. I used to do that. I mean, I'm from the city. I used to be able to grab free leaves. You can even find them in a park. You can find them in a parking lot. Go to a store, go to another town area and find those trees. You'll be able to find free material that you can use to cover your garden beds. You only have containers? No problem. You're covering your garden containers with leaves. Free 99. Oh, yes, it makes me excited. Yo, am I too excited about it? Yeah, I am. Do I regret it? No, I don't. Gardening makes me happy and excited. What can I say? I really, really love this. And on top of that, it's free. Not only are the leaves free, but it's free composting material. You can use this in your compost. You can use this to cover your garden beds. Remember, we don't want to leave our soil exposed to the harsh winter, the harsh climate, the harsh elements, the freezing rain, snow, anything like that. So that's why the leaves can be used as a cover. We're not really exactly adding nutrients into the soil, but this will break down over time. So in the end, it still will bring you some nutrients. It just won't bring it to you, one, that fast, and two, it's not maybe a complete nutrient source, but something is better than nothing. Remember that, people. I don't want you to feel discouraged because you don't have a lot of money. Trust me, I've been there and I'm still there. But we find ways to make everything work. And besides, what better way than using nature to our advantage, you guys? Now, if you have some manure also, you can get cow manure, rabbit manure, chicken manure if you got chickens. You can add that also as well. You can even add regular garden scraps. Like you can add whatever you can that will break down over time. No pesticide, no plastic, the whole deal. As long as we cover the garden bed, that's just what we're gonna use, and we're gonna use what we have. If you have access to hay, you can use hay, something. Remember, now ideally, this is gonna take a long time to break down. The leaves are also gonna take a long time to break down, which is why, what are you gonna do? You lawn mow it. I got Jose to lawn mow right over these leaves, break it down a little further. Now, I did not do that with the hay, unfortunately, so this is gonna take longer than the leaves to break down, but that's okay because I got nothing but time, right? Winter time is gonna be like 6 months. I'll get somewhere in 6 months. Every fall time, all of my neighbors give me their leaves, so that means I have an entire block's worth of leaves for free, mind you. Now, this is what it looks like because whenever you collect a bunch of those leaves, and let's just say that you don't have enough of the garden beds or maybe you just want to collect them, you can store those leaves into garbage bags and keep them for the entire winter time. Every time you need some leaves, you have them. They're already readily available for you and you don't always have to constantly seek out leaves. Let's just say it's the summertime, springtime, and obviously there's no more falling leaves. You can bust out one of your garbage bags that you have collected and then you can spread them on your garden beds. Look at this. This has already been breaking down for a long time in the bag. And all I did was just spread it right on top of the garden bed. Now, of course, it doesn't look fantastic, but for the ground, it looks amazing. See? And look at that. The ground is covered right there. Now, of course, this is going to break down, add more nutrients into the soil, and bam, here we go. No tilling involved either. Look at that. Of course, I can just leave that as is and then just put a tarp right over it. That would be just okay if that's all you had, of course. Whether you have those leaves decomposing in a garbage bag, just like this one was for a while, and then I took it out and then it's exposed to the elements, or you have it like this. That over there started off just like this, just in a garbage bag. So, wow, look at that. Look at this. Now from here, I have the option of just covering further if I wanted to. That's just purely optional because remember, I already have a bunch of broken down leaves already as it is. But if I want more, I can add more. Same thing for here. If I didn't want to cover this, I didn't have to because I already have some hay on here. See, this will break down over time. Look at how far this goes. Oh, there we are. Okay, that would work out too. So the only thing I have to do, I'm beating the sun. The sun is coming my way. Now the only thing I got to do right now is just spread out these leaves to fill up these garden beds and then just finally covering it with a tarp. And that's it. I really hope you enjoyed this video and you really got some good information out of it. I'm learning a lot of stuff more and more by the day, so I really want to just tell you everything that I'm learning. And this time is all about soil health. If you did enjoy this video and you want to show me some love, then don't forget to smash that like button. I really appreciate it. Also, if you haven't already, then consider subscribing. I drop a video, a long one and a short one. Also, you can catch me on Facebook and Instagram. I'm on there all the time, theadhdgardener.com. And yes, your girl is on Patreon. So guys, until the next episode where you and me both are going to be growing our happiness one plant at a time, one day at a time, go cover your garden beds. I'll check y'all later in the next episode. Peace and love. And that was good, right, Chip? Yes, it was. You're not even supposed to be in here at all. What are you doing? What are you doing, little schmoo boops? Huh, Chippy? My road dog. You're my roadie. My roadie. You can follow me everywhere, you annoying pup.